Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's classic is a very special classic car with wonderful history. Some quirky, interesting facts surround this special old early Cortina, and it's all to do with really the age of the car compared to when it was actually ordered, when it was supplied, and the fact that this one is badged up as a Consul, but the logbook refers to 1965. So there is a story with the car, and it's a really interesting one. The car is probably known to those who follow Mark 1 Cortinas. I'm led to believe I think the president or prominent member of the Cortina Mark 1 Owners Club actually had this as his own personal vehicle for a period. The logbook shows 4 previous keepers, and the gentleman who we have got the car from hasn't owned this car for a great deal of time. Something else come up that he really wanted, so we had the opportunity to get it. Now, the car itself is ambassador blue. I love this colour. It really suits the period, very 60s. It's a 1500cc. Now, Deluxe isn't as deluxe as you might think. But there was a real sort of entry model which had the I think they called it the iron bar grille, it was known as, but it was like a body design colour front grille, those cars. This one is a little nicer with the chrome. There isn't any overriders. It's pretty basic in its design. Ventilation comes through opening little quarter light windows at the front. Being a deluxe model, it gave you very little in the way of deluxe. You had, for example, a passenger visor. I think I'm right in saying that these early Fords, they didn't even feature things like a heater as standard, nor door mirrors. So there was a lot that needed to be added to these cars to get them to a reasonable specification, but thankfully, being a deluxe model, it does have a bit. But I think the 1500cc is probably the engine to go for. It's a Kent inline. I think they call this one the i4, but it's a Kent engine, and I guess it's the predecessor of what went on to be called the pre-crossflow engine. Now, the car drives especially well. It's still really fresh. It's got 84,000 miles on today, but having looked at some of the ancient service records, I can see that in the late 70s the car had 68,000 miles on, so it hasn't really been in constant use. Now, the car apparently was tucked away. It had been ordered by a gentleman who intended to take it overseas. I believe it also started life as an automatic car, so it had a Borg-Warner gearbox system. That did sap the speed a little, so you'll find having the 4-speed manual gearbox did liven these cars up a fair bit, and this one's no exception. It actually drives ever so nicely. I'm going to get round and show you in great detail the condition of the car, and you will see, like I'm seeing now, that this is a real survivor. But the quirkiness is that a car, let's have a look. I've got the logbook to hand. It talks about its registration being in, so wait, it did say, yeah, so it's February, the 1st of February 1965. Now, in 1965, Cortinas didn't feature, well, for starters, they were Cortinas, where, as you can see, this one's clearly badged as a Consul. And I guess therefore you'd call this a pre-facelift Cortina. So I don't think you're going to be finding many 1965 Consul Cortinas around. It all comes down to when they were registered. I mean, one of the big differences was the fact that the later cars by 1965, all the Cortinas should have featured front disc brakes. This one has drums. So it's interesting, and personally I really love this old dashboard. Let me show you what I mean. The later car had a completely different dashboard really, and they did away with this design. You can see this sort of fake, well, I don't know, I guess it is fake wood, but the wood effect here. Now the indicators, that's how they worked, which is like, again, the early Corsair had this switch gear. Not much switch gear to talk of. This one looks to have had a radio fitted from the period. Thankfully it does have a heater. Choke here, very, very basic. It has retained its original steering wheel, which is lovely. Again, only those early cars. I noticed in here, it's still, after all those years, it still kept that little panel where that would have been popped in. And a radio in the 1960s, considering, you know, transistor radios were really a thing of the 50s, that would probably have been quite a mod con. And if you look at it closely, you're only going to be looking at long and medium wave anyway. You won't be getting too many FM stations on that one. Vinyl seats make them very easy to keep clean. Again, a feature of the early car. Those lovely sort of two-tone panels on the doors here, and the seats are in remarkably good order. A pair of sun visors. You'll notice if we look closely down here, that's actually sort of a rubber mat. That's even the Deluxe. You only got a rubber mat, but look how good the condition of that is. That's really superb. I mean, I think this car could really be welcome at any car show in the land because of that wonderful story. Again, an early example. We got a handbrake here, column sort of mounted handbrake, which again different to the later car. And then actually huge documentation. Talk of the professional conversion from it being an automatic, which means it would have had an indicator telling you what gear, and then you had a stalk that come out the side, and that's how you change gear on these automatic versions. But this is manual. Very clean under the engine. We'll have a look at that as well. But that ambassador blue colour really does contrast lovely with these lighter seats. This sort of blue-grey rubber matting, which is worn ever so well. Of course, it wouldn't have been necessary back in 65 to have seat belts. Well, this one's got front seat belts. Obviously, the age of the car, there's going to be some imperfections. I've got a little crack, unfortunately, in the vinyl on the top of the dashboard, but other than that, it's a real survivor in here. I mean, even the sort of rubbers around here are pretty good order. There is a tear in the back of the head lining, which I'll show you when I'm in the back. But I'm also now going to treat you to a close look around all the panels on the car. I'm also going to pop the bonnet so we can have a look at the engine together. That front chrome bumper looks in marvellous order. Now, one of my biggest challenges on these videos is trying to use just one hand to open bonnets. So it's not too bad on the Cortina, because if you can press that button in well enough, yeah, it pops, and then there's a little lever to push here, and then it's up. And I'm going to actually hold this bonnet up just so I can show you how lovely the car is inside. Now, it would be difficult for me to believe that car hasn't probably been painted, because the engine bay is it's got such good paintwork on the inside. We haven't attempted to in any way tart this up for a video. This is absolutely how she's come into us. Looks to be very original under here. I can see that it's got a standard exhaust system, the standard airbox. The carburetor is correct. It's running a manual pump. Can you see that glass pump down there? That's that 1500cc engine. I don't think that bit of wood is probably fitted at Dagenham, but it does its job. And then if I get in quite closely, I can see the paint code and model number on the, that's all in very good condition. It doesn't even look like it has been off, so I don't know, maybe some originality of the paintwork under here, but it'd be hard to believe because it's in such good order. But yeah, really looks lovely underneath the bonnet. Let's push that down. And again, Consul, a feature of the early cars. Some expert product placement would have, those who remember their old Carry On films, you probably remember Carry On Cabby. A Cortina back then would have looked so incredibly modern when you consider what cars looked like at that era. And the Cortina was such a modern car, you know, it was groundbreaking really. And I still feel the styling of it today looks so great. I'm going to walk around closely and show you the panels and the condition. Now the bonnet itself is in excellent order, as is the scuttle panel, right down to this front grille, headlamp surrounds. All the chrome is really good. Correct period number plate. Wheels look good. Tyres match all round. They're Hankook tyres. This front wing on the offside looks excellent. Nice door gaps down the bottom of that door. That looks good. As does that seal back door, rear panel. Nice condition. If I get in really closely, you just see at the back of this wing here, it's covered in surface corrosion underneath. That all looks very honest. It looks nice and solid. Having had a look at it, it hasn't been got at, it hasn't been plastered with bitumen paint. Now that could all be shot blasted off and perhaps a clear wax oil put over it. The next owner can take on and carry out that work. Now I've got the Cortina badge on the back, no Consul Cortina. I've got Deluxe, and I've got a feeling those two little dots would have held a badge that's automatic. That's the fuel going in the back there. The rear bumper isn't in quite such a good condition because I do have a little bit of bubbling, which I'd expect actually on a car of this age, but it's in pretty good shape. No twists, it sits nicely. Moving around the back, I've also got very nice paintwork on the near side rear panel and the two doors. Moving through to the front wing, and then just looking over the roof, that's all in nice order now. A little bit of fading from the sun, but again I'm being very fussy here. You know, good rubber seals around this glass, it looks nice and bright. And as I step back and just pan around the whole car with you, we can walk around this car together. You can see that this early Cortina does present ever so nicely. And if you are going to go for a early Cortina and you are into these little fun facts and trivia, I think the fact that this is a 1965 registered car, but clearly an early car, a Consul Cortina, so that pre-facelift features, which is, in my opinion anyway, I think the dashboard is very cute on these. I love the interior on these, and when you go looking into the history of these cars, you will see that they did change from this, I guess, slightly more conventional dashboard, and then you probably remember the other sort of dashboard, the bar type dashboard they had. Different switch gear, certainly you would be indicating differently, whereas I've got to say I think these are pretty cool, and they're in such good condition as well. And I think you can guess what that's for. Well, the ignition isn't on. I've got a little bit of tape holding something on the steering wheel there, but it's lovely that it's got its original steering wheel. I'm going to have a look into the back as well, and just showing you here just how good and solid everything looks through here. So lovely to see those panels and posts in such good order, and see how these vinyl seats have held up so well throughout all the years, and they're really in excellent condition. We have got some fitted mats, but if I take that out and just show you how good a condition this original carpet is, it just doesn't seem to have worn out. Now I'm going to sit in the back. Ooh, there we go, and I will show you now. This is the stitching on this headlining from here. Now, it's got a rather crude bit of tape that runs all the way through, and someone's had a go at gluing it here, but this, when taken off, reveals a rather long tear, a split, but it's all along the seam. So you've got a seam here. We've also got the same thing here. That's a repair which we need to get sorted out, but by no means is it a showstopper for this car. If I just sit in the back here and just show you around the rest of it, you'll see how incredibly fresh and remarkably good order for a 1965 car that's likely to have been manufactured probably in 64 or possibly late 63. I don't know the full story of just how long this car was in stock. I'm going to just wander over to one of the most comprehensive files that we've seen for a car of this age. Now, if I just open up this box, it comes with 2 sets of keys, by the way, and it just gives you an idea of how much paperwork there is to run through. And what's really lovely as well, there was an article from a magazine from when this car was for sale about 10 years ago, which does a very nice write-up from the classic car motoring press of the time. They do a very nice job, very knowledgeable of the car, and that's all included in that box as well. Well, this is a very nice driving, beautiful Consul Cortina Mark 1 from 1965, deluxe trim. It's the 1500cc, so quite sprightly. These get along quite nicely, and I think if you were driving this as your classic car, you could probably take off and go anywhere in the country with this car. You wouldn't be going as fast as you would in your modern car, of course, but where's the fun in that? This is a beautiful, clean-cut example of a Mark 1 Cortina in absolutely lovely order, loads and loads of originality. My guess would be the paintwork looks so fresh, I can only assume it must have been painted to look so good. Sitting on a new set of tyres, good brakes, an absolute mountain of paperwork which demonstrate the maintenance that's been carried out over the years. I think the fact that the car looks so good and drives so well is a credit to its previous owners. It does show that's over the 4 previous owners, but I happen to know one of those is a relatively short-term owner of the car, and I think one of the previous owners, as I say, may hopefully see this video and recognise their old car, but I'm led to believe that it was actually somebody who was involved in the Mark 1 Cortina Club. And if I go round to the driver's side here, it looks like quite an old sticker, but it's a Cortina Owners Club sticker in the front there, so that actually looks as if it's been there for a while. Well folks, hopefully my walk around video has given you a good idea of the condition of this lovely and rather rare early Cortina. It's where it's all started. There's a lot of information available on these old cars, but the Mark 1 Cortina, well loved, very much a part of Britain's motoring heritage. Plenty of these were on the roads back in the day. They were a car that commercial travellers would be driving all around the country, conducting their business, and just the Cortina story in the UK is epic, and they're very well loved, and to have such a lovely original one like this, that lovely backstory, I think it makes it quite special. If you require any further information, or indeed if you would like to come and have a look and take this car for a drive, please get in touch with the usual channels. I'd be more than happy to show you this lovely car. We can take your existing classic car, modern car and light commercial vehicle as part exchange. We offer a very efficient full UK delivery service. We're very happy to give you a quotation to bring this classic car to your house and take away your old one if you do have a part exchange. We always try to be very helpful with the part exchange service. I know how much easier it is to just have the old car taken away on the day of the new car that turns up, and we try to be very sensible with our trade-ins. We are enthusiasts here. We do operate our own classic car garage here in Hampshire, and we do have some very talented motor engineers that prepare these cars to the best standard, and they're test driven, thoroughly cleaned, road tested before they leave us, and we want these cars to arrive with you so you can jump in them and enjoy them. Well, thank you very much for watching today's video, folks. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for watching. Take care. Danny at Bradley James signing out.